I'm going to defend Julian, I'm going to defend Annie, and I'm going to tear apart Annie all at the same time.
Jeez,
What is going on, everyone? Another morning edition. Welcome in. It's the whole Queen City News morning team. We got Julian, we got Annie, we got Teddy P, and then, of course, myself, Jason. Nice to have you here. And all right, so last week we were talking about all of the efforts leading up to the 24 Hours of Booty, which is the 24-hour ride, walk, run for our cancer community. Man, it happened over the weekend, guys. And Ted's, like promised, it was hot. Holy cow. 100 and something on Saturday. It was great, though, guys. I mean, I got to ride at night till about 2:30 in the morning. I met a lot of people. There's Spencer, who's the founder 24 years ago when it started. Catherine, who's the executive director. I ride in honor of my dad, who's a cancer survivor. Met a cool kid, Sam, who's gone through liver cancer. And God, it's so inspiring no matter what you have to physically go through just for 24 hours, which is a little teeny window compared to what other people are going through. But I mean, you're almost in tears when you hear these people's stories, guys. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, and you can look at that video of everyone kind of taking off there. So that, I think, is impactful when you start. But then,
It is.
Jason, you set a goal this year. I guess tell everyone about the differences between this year and last year, which was your first time doing it.
Yeah, so last year was the first time to do it. And the biggest misconception, people are like, well, I'm not a cyclist. I'm not an athlete. It's not a race. You can do one lap, which is only 3 miles of the booty loop, and you could be done. So last year when I did it, I didn't know what to expect, didn't set any goals. I stopped a lot, would have an adult beverage here and there, shake hands. There were bands playing and sang with a band. Like it was more fun taking it all in. This year, I decided to have a goal of 100 miles. Don't know what I was thinking, pushing myself to that. And so in order to accomplish it, I found it was much more difficult for me to just enjoy and stop along the way, because I'm like, if I stop, no way I'm getting back on this bike. I'm not stopping for an IPA, as good as it sounds, right in the middle of, Saturday afternoon. And it didn't work out. And so it's almost like one or the other. I think next year I'll try to maybe do a little bit of a hybrid of that. But this is the first year I didn't go home. I stayed overnight, sleeping on a cot for 2 hours.
Nice.
Other campers out there. So I did enjoy it in a different kind of way. But yeah, it was a lot.
Can I ask you, what was the difference between mile 1 and 50 and mile 50 to 100?
Wow. So my goal was to do 60 before I went to bed. Okay. Whatever time it was. It could have been 1 a.m. or 3 a.m. I was not getting off the bike until I hit 60, because I knew if I was on the other side of the halfway point, it would be easier for me to reach.
That makes sense.
When I started round 2, whenever that was, right? And so I got to 60, went to sleep, and was excited that I just got to that, right? And I woke up in the morning and I thought, man, 40 miles, that's nothing. I did 20. And my backside, 34 hours of booty pain, man. My backside was saying, you're going to have to do the next 20 standing up. You don't need to sit on this little tiny seat anymore. And Spencer did tell me, and there's something to be said with technology, whether it's in a car or a bicycle or any of that computer, things work better the way they're intended if you upgrade every 5 to 10 years, right? It's a 20-year-old plus bike. Now, it still works, and it's tuned up, and it's in great shape. Oh, man, but even Spencer said, you either got to be a young person in this sport to go that many miles, or you got to have the latest technology. And so I would not have worked as hard had I had a newer bike with better gears, a better seat, all the things, right? You can end up spending $1 million in any sport, right? But it was awesome. I mean, it really was. Matter of fact, I was getting tired towards the end, and I'm like at mile 92, and these two young girls, I say young girls, probably in their 20s, go flying past me, and they're like, oh yeah, we're at 168. And I'm just going, okay.
Perspective. So what was it for you that next morning that allowed you to push past that, right? Because you were saying to us that you got to a certain mile and you're like, oh man, can I get to 100? What was that moment where you're like, okay, no, I need to lock in? What got you over the hump?
I think a couple things. One is I kept thinking about my dad. Now, my dad's cancer journey, it was skin cancer. They were able to get the 2 different spots, and thank God he is still cancer-free. But there have been a lot of way worse stories out there. And so I think keeping that in my mind of there were people that were not there this year, by the way, that were currently getting new ports put in different cities around our state and in other states that couldn't be there enjoying it. So I was thinking about right now, they have ports that are being put in. They're going through a lot of pain. I'm like, come on, I can ride this out, right? Another 20 miles. And so I'm grateful for mine and my kids' health journey. So that was part of it. And then the other part of it is and I'm being honest here, I rarely set a goal for myself. I'm not a goal setter. It drives my wife crazy because everything is a goal for her and a plan. And this is what I'm going to do before I go to bed. I don't do that at all. I'm just a fly by the seat of my pants. If I do 60 miles, if I do 112, great, doesn't matter. And so it was a challenge for me. Like, dang it, I said I'm going to do this weeks ago. I'm going to do it come hell or high water. I don't care how bad it hurts. I don't care if it literally takes me 23 point whatever hours. I'm going to do 100. And so, yeah. And then I knew it was going to get really, really hot, Ted, on Saturday. And I'm like, I'm not going to spread this out. I'm getting this done before noon. I want to get out of here. And so, I finished at 11:59.
11:59?
Yeah.
Nice.
So, but again, it was great. And God, this city shows up for people, for anything, whether it's Alzheimer's, cancer, leukemia. I mean, so many of the nonprofits, if it's for a good cause, animals, anything, man, everyone really rallies together and shows up. And that was just the thing that just kept me going, man. It was awesome.
And for anyone who doesn't know about the 24 Foundation, we have people moving here every day. And my first exposure obviously was working here and working on weekends. And that was one of the first events I covered, and just talking to the different people who are riding. I think it was a woman duo, and one of them was blind. And this was her person who led her through all of these races, and not just not races, I shouldn't say race, but events. And it gave you just a sense of a purpose and for what I was going for here was saying that this is all of raising money for the cancer community. And it's not research that has its part. It's amazing. But this is all this stuff that you don't really think about. The logistics of getting to your appointments, or of what am I going to eat? Or I have a family. What are they going to eat? Who's going to take my kids to school? But some other stuff too that's, like music therapy or art therapy. They have paid, they've brought up they've had a scholarship to send someone who in their 20s who is going through cancer. We're going to cover your education. You don't have to worry about that. Just focus on getting better, which is so cool. It's kind of it can go to anything that's not related to research. And I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Well, and of course, the biggest one nationwide is American Cancer Society, which
Yeah.
does fund all the research and treatments and stuff. But like you said, Annie, it's all the other stuff. The day-to-day things, and maybe you can't do childcare this month. You can't afford it because one of the family members is having to do whatever else because of cancer. So it's all those things, and man, the stories, the pictures of people's mom or people's kids. Julian, you and I were talking. There's a firefighter who lost his kid. He wasn't even a year old.
Yeah,
and they do a Camden, which is a 160 miles every year. This guy comes up, and his team continues to grow. They ride these honor bikes that have hundreds of names all over these bikes in honor and now in memory. And I think that's the other harder thing of reality.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people's, pieces of paper that they have pinned on their jerseys, or if they're walking, names in the years past that have been on the honor side and now unfortunately moved on the memory side. And to see that list growing is sad. But there's also people that thought by now they would be on the memory list.
That's true.
And they're not. And they were promised maybe 6 months to a year or two. Here they are still going strong 6-7 years later. So there's still so much hope out there. And that was cool to see.
Well, Harp, good on you. Proud of you
we are.
for making your goal, and proud of the 24 Foundation, Spencer, the whole entire game.
Yeah.
24 years. I mean, that's so remarkable.
That's crazy.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, something that normally is just Teddy and myself that get in disagreements.
Oh boy.
Not today. Annifer found herself on the other side, so Teddy's got backup. We'll tell you what we're stewing about.
Welcome back, everyone, to this edition of Morning Edition. We tend to get in some conversations here on the streaming platform that carry over from the morning, and usually it's Julian and Ted. It starts with a very simple question that
True.
Jason and I are like, oh yeah, that's a sandwich, or like, this is what I consider a taco. And they carry it on for several hours. Today, they got into it, but Julian and I have been friends since we started working together here. And this is the first time we've gotten in like a little bit of a fight, because we are just so diametrically opposed on this topic. So what are we talking about? Over the weekend, there was an American Airlines flight that had to emergency land. There's smoke coming out of the plane, flames, everything. Everyone's getting roasted on social media, which rightfully so. They're coming down the evacuation slide. Julian, don't give me that look. I see your eyes. They're coming down the evacuation slide. A lot of people have bags with them. They're falling. You're not supposed to take your bags with you, right? If you read the instruction card, you listen to instructions from the flight attendants, you're not supposed to take your bags with you. So this started the conversation of, what are you doing? This guy's got a roller bag. I'm not about that life.
Right.
What I said and what has caused problems is that I am a mom now. Okay. So the most recent flight I took was with my husband and my child. If we were in this situation, I would have grabbed the backpack that is under my seat that would contain my daughter's food, right? Breast milk that I pump like 6 times a day for her. It's a labor of love. So it's got all that, it's liquid gold. It got all that in there, neatly packed in, but also a breast pump. And that is very compact. They're mobile these days. If it's right in my backpack, I am grabbing that with me and I'm taking it down the slide. I don't care what anyone says.
So he's already shaking his head.
He's shaking his head because he says no. And then he's like, no
matter
you're
what.
not supposed to do that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, so you want my child to starve?
No,
I said this to you though, and you're like, okay, well, so
no, I don't want your child to starve. I think, but I think, okay, yes, in your case, you can obviously breastfeed because you
but so you said, can't you breastfeed? And I said, not everyone can do that.
I was gonna.
Can I potentially do that? I don't know, because without getting too far into it, she's been drinking bottles for the past like 6 months now, so that's not an easy transition to make. So I don't know if I can do that. But
okay, so I'll get here.
No. Hold on.
It's already
okay.
Hang on.
No,
I feel like the baton was handed and you want to take it back, but go ahead, Annie.
Back really quick.
I will respect your talking stick.
Really,
go ahead.
The talking stick. We don't have one. We should probably get one. No, but just not everyone can do that. So it's not as simple. It's not as black and white of like, oh, just give your baby X, Y, and Z.
You are right.
So that is it. You can have the baton.
I agree.
Or whatever.
Here's my thing. It doesn't matter whether you can breastfeed or not if you and your child don't make it off the plane.
Okay.
And my thought is, if you are going to grab something, right, and say yes, 10 times out of 10, when you guys are just getting off the plane normally, you're able to grab that bag, there's no problem. But when an emergency hits and everybody's going crazy, do you grab that backpack cleanly? Do you fumble with it? If you fumble with it, does the person, you say that, right? But does the person who's sitting, like maybe your aisle seat, right? Does the person at the window see you bend down to grab your backpack, get nervous because he thinks you're going to take too long, push you over? You pushed you over and your child. Then you guys are maybe getting trampled on. You guys don't make it off of the plane.
Or they go back and get theirs.
Or they go back and get theirs. They see you doing that. And okay, if she's going to do it, I'm going to grab mine. Every minute counts in an emergency situation. Nobody's life is more important than the other. Just follow directions, get off the plane, and then people will help you survive after. But again, I think it goes to, you may not make it off the plane. Every second matters. And I think May-Kay brought up the case of the Japan Airlines plane that collided with the Coast Guard plane. And everybody on that plane followed directions, didn't take a thing. They were able to get every single passenger and member of the crew off the plane before it exploded.
Are we sure no one took like anything?
No, you watch the video. They all just walk out.
You watched the 356.
I mean,
I was wondering too.
Maybe somebody's taking That's what the reporting says. So,
did they look at every single person?
I don't know, Annie.
If I may.
Go ahead, Ted.
Sure.
And my approach to this is, Julian, I believe you're talking about just following the rules and the guidelines that are put in front of us in a chaotic situation, which I give it to you. Yes, that's very, very important. However, I do think situational awareness and adapting is very important in these chaotic situations as well, because things rarely go exactly as planned.
Okay.
And while The crews are trained. We trust authority. They can also be flawed as well. So I'm a huge proponent for personal agency and, of course, making sure that you're being attentive to what's happening around you. While it's important to follow the instructions, you don't want to blindly follow them, as the case states Asiana 214, San Francisco 2013, where some exits were unusable. So am I supposed to stay at that exit because the crew says go to the
We're talking about taking
exit?
your belongings.
Or taking your belongings.
So we're talking about taking your belongings. You're citing something here. Talk about that's what we're talking about.
But
so make your case as to why it's important.
Why it's important to take your belongings in any situation with the child or any mother situation with the child. They have a exception to the rule of the 3.4 ounces going on the plane in the first place. They allow
they do. What are the instructions when an emergency happens? What do they tell you to do with your belongings? Right.
Why?
Why do they tell you that, Ted?
To not obscure the aisle, to not get in the way. When I was in an emergency flight situation, we landed. I actually had my bag in hand where they said, "Hey, leave belongings." So I actually had to stop and put it down.
Yeah, if you put it on the seat, you're not.
But that's the thing is, I followed instructions by stopping to put it down.
Ted, if you put it on a backpack, how much room is that behind you and the person behind? Does that increase the distance between you and the person behind you?
Depends if the
backpack's on my back. The backpack's on your back. It was on your shoulder. So that's so sideways. You're hitting each seat as you come down. Then
I was not even in the aisle yet. So all I'm saying is, follow instruction. I had to alter my behavior. I'm just saying, I don't think you blindly follow instructions if it could lead to a more chaotic
It'd be crazy if the
situation.
flight attendant said there are exceptions to the rule, but that's not what they say. Jason, you want to get in here real quick before we squeeze another break?
I got so many things to say.
We might need to say
I'm going to defend Julian. I'm going to defend Annie. And I'm going to tear apart Annie all at the same time.
Jeez,
I think we should take a break.
That's a tease right there.
I got to think this through. This through.
We'll be back with Morning Edition in just a bit.
My turn now?
Oh, your turn.
I really have been quiet on this all morning.
You have.
Yeah, you have.
Man, I'm struggling with this because I'm really trying to fully be on one side of the fence or the other and not just right down the middle for politics' sake. I'm really trying to put myself into a scenario of where I would do one or the other. Mm-hmm. I think normally, Julian, spot on. Doesn't matter what's in the bag. Doesn't matter how much I value it. I think there are two instances, however, where I would pull an audible and grab it with me.
Okay.
And here are the two instances. One, if I had a bag containing some life-saving device that the local airport or someone else doesn't have. Hang on, all right, Annie, here's the deal. Your child won't die if you're landing in America. Let's just put it out there. If you're landing on a remote island, and you have to get off the airplane, and there's going to be no formula, no milk, no way to feed your child, no matter what age, I don't care what the rule says. I'm grabbing it. This is the only way I can feed my kid, right? But you're landing in Denver, and so even if you're on the tarmac for 30 minutes or 2 hours, if you have a problem and need to feed your child, they're going to get you what you need. They just are. We're in America. They're going to have everything you need. It may not be the exact, Similac or whatever formula that she's used to. She's going to get what she needs, right? But I'm just saying, it's a pill. It's that your local pharmacy, even at the airport, is not going to have. If it's something that I have to critically keep with me at all times, blood pressure, something like that, I'm pulling it out. I'm grabbing it with me, right? Or a family member's ashes. That's it. Okay. If I'm transporting those back.
That I didn't think.
It just dawned on me. That's the other thing I would take. Okay. That I would grab. Outside of that, they're going to give you what you need, unless you're flying. Like I said, if you're flying to Hawaii and you have to make an emergency landing on some remote place where they don't have what you need, I don't care. Now, I'm also trying to be realistic because I know now if they say don't touch whatever's in front of you, I'm like, my iPad's in there. I can grab it. I'm not responsible for my neighbors. I know I can grab it smoothly and not get hung up on my feet or on the arm of chair. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But here's the deal. Like you mentioned, if me grabbing it causes a stumbling block for the other people that may not be responsible, I don't want to cause a chain reaction of now everyone's dipping down to grab their bag because they all think they can grab it. Man, this is hard. This is a hard one.
It's a very good
hard one.
I'm glad you brought up the medically necessary part of it because that is what a breast pump is considered, by the way, if you look at the TSA's website, which I have scoured over many times in preparation for flying. Julian, as someone who's like, no, you can't grab anything. There are people who need oxygen to survive, right? That is a medically necessary device. They're not always these big old oxygen tanks. I'm not sure, I guess, what the rules are in terms of flying with those things, but I have a relative who has a mobile, oxygen thing. Maybe you're not using it on the plane. Maybe that's part of the rule, but you need it eventually.
Right.
Is that not allowed? Are they not allowed to bring their life-saving
those life-saving ones they usually have on their body. Like if I'm not
I'm thinking like a mobile thing.
The mobile ones, it's like it is a strap. They have it on their body. Like,
okay,
but they're not bending over to get something yes, you know what? I will. Jason's to his point. If you need something that is life dependent, like that is my. I will break there. Like if you need something to survive. But to Jason brought up exactly what I would say. Like yes, would it be more convenient for your child and you to have your pump,
which is about convenience.
But your child's not going to die.
Really not about.
No, my point is your child's not going to die.
They're going to have.
And my issue is that if you stumble, right, and that person pushes you over and you get trampled, you die. Your child dies. Is your child's life worth it? If you taking that much time, you stumble and there's commotion, the people get trapped on the back of the plane, they don't get a chance to get out because you wanted to take the extra time. Is their life worth it? And then what do you say to the family member? It's like, yeah, we watched Annie. She grabbed that bag.
And she killed everyone.
I know, but go back to the discernment, though. I don't think Annie would put her child in danger to reach for the bag.
But she is. Because in an emergency situation.
You know how the saying goes is you trust yourself as a driver, but it's all the other people that you don't trust.
Yeah.
I trust myself in a situation like that to cleanly grab a bag. Again, you don't know what's going on. There's all these things that could happen. If I'm struggling with it and I can't get it, like fine.
Yeah,
but even the act of you bending over may force that other person to then act differently. The rules, like
I don't really. There's very few things that I like 1,000% see black and white. I'm usually like a middle of the fence person, like Jason. I'm trying to Lanny, but in this case, like I don't care what this argument is. Like I'm still going to do it because what's your initial instinct is I have to continue to care for my child, and to the point of like, oh, there's formula that you can go by. No, you cannot. It's not the same because I'm the only one that understands this. And I'm not a person who walks around is like, you don't understand and no one understands me. But this is literally a situation where only people who have gone through that understand. Could she have formula? Sure. Would it cause some problems? Yes. And if I'm going to do the best thing for her, that is what I have on my person.
This is tough because it goes back to I had a not a falling out, but I had a disagreement with a family member. It was during COVID. And it was when people were going to buy everything up at the grocery store. And I made a post and I said, guys, I get it. You want to protect your family, but think about others. There's a reason why they have limits. We all survive if we do this together. And she says, disagree. I'm a mom. I'm going to look after my family. They're more important. I'm like, I get that. But in these situations, in a life or death situation, nobody's life is more important than others. We get through these situations by looking out for one another. And I just think it is that mindset that we just like, I want to look after my own. If everybody looks after their own, then we end up in more trouble than we would if everybody plays their part.
I hear you on that. I don't think you can't do both. Like, I think you could look out for others and yourself.
I don't think so. Because again, it's like I know you're doing it for a good reason, Annie. But the person, another person may see you grabbing for something and think, okay, then I need to grab something. Then multiple people grab something. Then we're all delayed on getting off. And every second matters. They make these rules and regulations for a reason. They have accounted for people. Go ahead. Wait, you don't think there's a reason why they're the rules? Because it just takes one thing. Annie.
Oh no.
Dang, we're
running out of time.
Dang it.
Kitty part 2.
And Andy, I'll say this. You think you will do everything cleanly. You're 1,000% on that, but you are a college gymnast. How many times did like a routine handspring? How many times? 99 out of 100, right? You hit that, but there's one time you don't. If that one time's a life or death situation and you don't hit it, what happens?
Gymnastics is way harder than grabbing a backpack.
A handspring? How many times have you done that?
1,000.
Somersault.
Millions of times.
And how many have you ever messed up?
A whole bunch.
Until we're in an emergency, our normal functions don't become normal. And so we
think
don't know until we're faced with it.
I agree. I think that we're eliminating the part where some people lock in during emergencies and are extra efficient.
Yeah.
That's true.
That would be me.
True.
And others are more chaotic.
I know that about myself, and as someone who, as you ask any mom, they're planning 1,000 steps ahead. So this plane's going down. I'm already thinking about how I'm going to get my backpack. It's probably already on my body.
True. Well, you're wrong. Anyway, no.
Oh, wow.
I love you all.
I love you, Annie. I love you, Ted. Jason's a really sensible other member of the group. With that, thank you for tuning in to Morning Edition. Have the debate. Let us know what you think. We'll be back next time.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.